News Digest: Extreme tensions between Trump, Zelensky, Russia, and Europe. Latest update, March 4, 2025. Hello, dear readers. In today's special report, we bring you a comprehensive overview of the explosive developments shaking up international relations between the United States, Russia, Ukraine, and Europe. From the historic clash between U.S. President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky at the White House to Russia's forceful response and Europe's growing unease, the current situation not only reflects a shift in U.S. foreign policy but also raises critical questions about the region's future. Join us as we dive into a detailed analysis of the key events shaping this volatile landscape. Trump's contrasting policies toward Russia and Ukraine. U.S. President Donald Trump continues to stir controversy with his starkly opposing approaches to Russia and Ukraine, according to the latest and most accurate reports. While Trump has shown friendliness toward Russia, praising Moscow's role on the global stage, he has adopted a hardline stance against Ukraine, a nation embroiled in conflict with Russia. Reports reveal that Trump views Ukraine's push to join NATO as the spark that provoked Russia's aggressive reaction, leading to his shocking decision to suspend all military aid to Kiev. This move is seen as an attempt to pressure Ukraine into concessions during negotiations with Russia, aligning with Trump's America First strategy. He has openly criticized the massive aid, over $300 billion from the US, far exceeding Europe's $100 billion previously provided to Ukraine. The historic White House showdown between Trump and Zelensky on March 1, 2025, a diplomatic event at the White House, turned into an unprecedented clash between Trump and Zelensky, described by international media as unparalleled. The confrontation erupted when Trump bluntly demanded that Ukraine abandon its NATO ambitions and issue a public apology to the US for escalating tensions. Trump argued that the US had spent hundreds of billions on Ukraine without sufficient returns, accusing Zelensky of lacking goodwill in pursuing peace. In response, Zelensky fiercely resisted, vowing that Ukraine would not relinquish its NATO goal or apologize, calling such demands an insult to a nation fighting for its freedom. The heated exchange lasted hours, leaving the atmosphere stifling and ending without any agreement. Trump's next moves against Ukraine. Following the White House incident, Trump intensified pressure on Ukraine through a series of statements and decisions. Reports indicate that he publicly announced a review of all U.S. support policies for Ukraine, even hinting at completely cutting aid if Kiev fails to cooperate. A White House source revealed that Trump is considering a trilateral meeting with Russia and Ukraine to force both nations to the negotiating table, with the U.S. acting as a mediator. However, this comes with a firm condition: Ukraine must accept neutralization and abandon NATO, a demand Zelensky has labeled unacceptable. Ukraine's response: public and government outrage. Ukrainian citizens have expressed deep anger and concern following the Trump-Zelensky dispute. According to the latest updates, hundreds of people in Kiev and other major cities believe Trump is abandoning Ukraine at its most critical moment. One interviewee stated, "We've sacrificed so much, and now the US turns its back just to please Russia." Meanwhile, Zelensky remains resolute, declaring that Ukraine will not apologize for defending itself, a stance widely supported by the public, though many fear the consequences of losing US backing. Russia's reaction: support for Trump and increased pressure. Russia swiftly responded to the situation, voicing approval of Trump's position. The Kremlin stated that NATO's eastward expansion, particularly its courtship of Ukraine, triggered the current conflict, calling Trump's demand for Ukraine to abandon NATO a step in the right direction. A senior Russian official suggested Moscow is open to talks if Ukraine agrees to neutrality, while warning that any stubbornness from Kiev would lead to severe consequences. Notably, shortly after the Trump-Zelensky clash, Russia launched a major assault on Ukraine, signaling its intent to escalate pressure. Europe's concerns: fears of a rift with the US. European leaders have voiced deep concern over Trump's stance and the tensions with Ukraine. According to the latest reports, German and French leaders have urged the US to maintain its NATO commitments and prevent Ukraine's isolation. An anonymous EU official warned that if the US withdraws support, Europe, whose aid is only a third of America's, lacks the resources to fill the gap. Eastern European nations like Poland and Lithuania are particularly anxious that Russia could exploit the situation to expand its influence, especially after Trump's recent friendly call with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Military escalation: Russia's 200 drone assault on the night of March 2, 2025, Russia unleashed one of its largest attacks of the year, deploying approximately 200 unmanned aerial vehicles (UAVs) against targets across Ukraine. Cities like Kharkiv, Dnipro, and Odessa reported severe infrastructure damage, with at least 15 civilians killed and dozens injured. Ukraine's air defenses downed about 120 drones, but the sheer volume and coordinated tactics overwhelmed Kiev's response capabilities. Analysts suggest this assault was a direct reaction to the US-Ukraine rift, aimed at maximizing pressure on Zelensky as Western support wanes. Analysis and outlook: the Trump-Zelensky clash has not only strained US-Ukraine relations but also cast doubt on the future of Western unity in countering Russia. Trump's pragmatic approach hints at a potential US role as a mediator in Russia-Ukraine talks, but this hinges on Ukraine making concessions, an outcome Zelensky staunchly opposes. Meanwhile, Russia appears to be capitalizing on the situation to bolster its diplomatic and military position. Europe, though alarmed, lacks a viable alternative if the US steps back. The situation in Ukraine is expected to grow even more tense in the coming days, with no side, US, Russia, or Ukraine, showing signs of backing down. These developments pose a significant challenge for Ukraine and serve as a wake-up call for Western solidarity against Russian pressure. Will Trump double down on his controversial strategy, or can Ukraine find a way out of this diplomatic and military storm? The answers will unfold in the days ahead. Thank you for following our report. Please like and subscribe to support us and stay tuned for the latest updates on this rapidly evolving situation. See you in the next video.